Hello, this is Dave from Glass Animals, and you are live in Limbo.
Maybe you're just a little bit happy.
Hi, this is Dakota. I'm here with Dave from Glass Animals.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, really well. How are you?
I am great.
Awesome.
Your second album, How to Be a Human Being, just came out, and it's fantastic.
Thanks.
And on this album, it seems like you went a lot more in depth and crazy with a lot of the percussive sounds. What was sort of the inspiration behind that? Was it that you were hearing sounds in your head that you really needed to find, or fiddling around and finding some cool stuff and seeing what worked and what didn't?
Yeah, for the most part, it's just sitting around waiting for sounds to pop into my head and trying to make that sound with whatever's lying around. So some of the percussive sounds on the record are just like using everything I had around me. Sometimes it was like a football and I'd throw that against a wall and record that. And sometimes it was a packet of crisps and you smash it and that's your snare sound. And you do everything you can to get the sound that's in your head.
It's funny, you listen to interviews with film composers and you're like, oh, how did you make that really awesome action sound? And then they're like, it was a celery stick.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not interesting.
It's really interesting. I love that kind of stuff.
It's crazy. No
Yeah.
one thinks about that.
It's always fun getting creative like that, using simple
You never
things to
know
make crazy sounds.
Where the next inspiration is going to come from, I guess.
You never know.
When you are writing a record, a lot of your songs have some really dark lyrics. Do you have a hard time balancing, the dark subject matter with what ends up usually being some pretty dancey tunes?
Well, that's what I find interesting about music a lot of the time. And this whole record is based on stories that I've heard while traveling around. I mean, I made new stories and new characters for this record, but they're all sort of based on sentiments that I've heard on the road. And a lot of the time people tell you a story and it's quite bubbly on the surface and they'll be smiling and they'll be telling you a story in kind of a funny way. But if you look past that, it's quite dark a lot of the time. And that story also says something about their life and about the world as a whole. And that can also be quite dark and quite sad. So I like there being something gentle on the surface, something really simple and just a nice simple story with a simple melody. And then you can get deeper if you want to.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cool. I saw in an earlier interview that you did during your last tour, where you kind of talked about some of your inspiration being stuff like The Island of Dr. Moreau and The African Queen and Heart of Darkness. Was there any sort of crazy literature influences on this album?
Yeah, there are loads. I always love trying to sneak those in. They're really fun. I don't know, how nerdy do you want to get?
Hey, I'm ready to get nerdy.
Really nerdy?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's go through a few. There are a lot of references in the song Agnes. Mm-hmm. There's a reference to Paradise Lost, if you want to get really pretentious. There's a reference to The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, Hollow Men by T.S. Eliot, Everything's Illuminated, which is an amazing book. There's a reference to a track called Accordion by M.F. Doom. There's a reference to Someone Great by LCD Sound System in that song. And I could keep going, but that's just one of the tracks.
I think having, a Mount Rushmore with T.S. Eliot and then M.F. Doom right next to each other.
I can't think of a better combination, really.
They go so well together, don't they?
Yeah. Cheese and ham. Yeah.
Cheese and ham goes really well together.
It's delicious.
On the artwork for your latest album, there's 11 people, and there's 11 tracks.
Yes.
And then it sort of seems that each of these people represent a different song. The ray gun guy is life itself, and then the waitress and the little boy are youth. Where did that sort of idea come from? Just because it seems like you were literally embodying these songs with people now.
Yeah, it kind of came while the songs were in their formative stages. It was writing lyrics and melodies and chords, and to help me along with that, I'd often just flesh out the character behind the story quite a lot. So I'd have a sort of central character for each song, and then I'd make these big diagrams about everything, what they do in their spare time, what they eat, what they wear, what their furniture looks like, what their house looks like, who their friends are. Everything, all their weird quirks and fetishes. And that helps you write the lyrics, it helps you write the chords, it helps you do all the sonics and the sounds and stuff. If your character, there's a song called Season 2, Episode 3, and the character sits on the sofa all day watching television and playing video games. So all the sounds in that song are, trying to imitate old school TV scores and video games from the 1980s, and I guess that was where the idea, when I had all of these documents with all of these basically character descriptions, it seemed really obvious to just cast them all as actors, and that's what you see on the cover, and that's what you see in the artwork.
So how involved with the casting of these actors were you?
Really involved. Yeah, we did a casting in LA.
In LA?
Yeah, it was really surreal.
So was it really you trying to just communicate exactly what you had envisioned for these people and hoping that the right person was going to come through the door?
Yeah, well, we spoke to an agency, and I gave them all of these documents, and it had a couple of photos. Each document had a couple of photos of what they might look like and what they might be like as a person. So, yeah, they went out and found about 10 people for each character that might fit, and they walked in and did a little bit of a sketch for us, did a little bit of acting, and we chose our favorites.
Did that kind of blow your mind that
Absolutely.
You had written this like huge in-depth thing and then in walks the actual person?
It was very strange, but absolutely amazing, because all of these actors are characters in their own right. They're amazing people as well. Like the little boy walked in a Hulk costume with big like Hulk fists on, and he was like, "Hey, I'm Brock." And it was wonderful. It just like all of these characters actually really fit the actors as well. It was strange.
And you've been using these same actors also in the video since then. Is the plan for the whole marketing for the whole album to do videos with each of these actors, sort of thing?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I don't know how far we'll get. Some people do videos for the whole album, Beyonce, for instance, but we're not quite at that level.
I've always compared Glass Animals to Beyonce.
I know. I have a similar dance routine on stage, similar hair, and similar booty. But we're going to do what we can with the budget that we have. I mean, we don't quite have a £1 million budget yet, but we will get everything that we can done.
Now, looking at both of these videos that have come out for Life Itself and Youth, other than a cameo, the band isn't in the videos. Is this by a creative decision, or is it just something you guys aren't really fond of doing?
It's something that we like to stay out of, I think. It gives you a chance to say something about the song and the music, and maybe give people a bit more of an insight into the lyrics, and catch a few references they might not have caught the first time around just listening to the song. So that's what a video is to me. I know for some people it's a chance to show off their dance moves, but I do that on stage.
Exactly, you got to buy a ticket to see that.
Yeah.
Specifically, the cameo you guys have in Youth is you sitting at the table and the little kids dancing on the table.
Yeah.
How sick were those kids' moves?
He's an amazing dancer. He can break dance as well, but he wouldn't do it.
Oh, come on.
He wouldn't do it. He's amazing. He's great. I stole his tricycle at one point, and he got really angry. I love him.
Now, you also have a spoken word interlude in this pre-made sandwich that seems to be, it's very directly a anti-consumerist sort of song. Did this come from after doing all the work behind Zaba, the feeling of your work and your art and your music sort of become this capitalistic beast that you can't control anymore?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons for that song. I mean, ultimately it's another character, but there's always a little bit of me in all of the characters. Some of the characters are actually totally autobiographical, but it's another character, and so sometimes everyone feels a bit pessimistic.
All right. Did you have any lessons or experience that you had when you were both recording Zaba and touring it that you've now brought to the table with the recording and now the touring and promotion of this album?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started playing Zaba live after it came out, there were tiny shows, really tiny shows. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We were really shy. We'd never been on stage before. We'd never been in a band before. So we were quite naive and shy. We're up there kind of trying to play things perfectly, looking really timid, and it sucked, to be honest. We weren't very good, and then we just learned to have fun. We went to South by Southwest, and you realize that you have 10 minutes between one band finishing and you going on stage, and you're just going to throw your stuff on stage, plug it in, half of it's going to work, it's going to sound garbage, but you have to go up and still have fun anyway. So we learned to have fun on stage, and I think hopefully we've taken that with us into our new stage show. And also, playing live so much makes you appreciate certain sounds, things that sound good out of huge PA systems. So I think subconsciously that definitely wove its way into a lot of the recordings on the new album. Big arrangement changes, big structural changes, big bass, big drums, and then contrasting that with like little very delicate pieces of music and spoken word tracks and bits where there's just like a little harp tickling and soft vocal line.
That's cool. What's the point of being a band if you're not going to have fun, right?
It's true, yeah.
Well, I hope you're having fun now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you have any regrets singing about pineapples, or fans like inundating you with either drawings or throwing them at you?
We get a lot of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, throwing pineapples is a dangerous game. I actually, at the end of shows, I tend to throw all the pineapples that have made their way onto stage back out into the crowd, and sometimes that goes really. I remember at ACL, we were on the main stage, and it's so far to the front row, and I feel like American football, this pineapple, and instead of it going in like a nice arc, it just went straight like a bullet, straight at this girl in the front row, and
Is she okay?
She ducked. She ducked, and it hit this like huge bro in the chest, so it was all right.
That was probably like the highlight of his night.
Yeah, and that we've had people tweet us saying like, I got knocked out by a pineapple, best night of my life.
It's on my shelf. It's
I'm really
rotting.
sorry.
I am not getting rid of this pineapple.
Yeah, if anyone's ever been hurt by a pineapple, I'm really sorry. I've been told by our insurance company that I shouldn't throw it as hard anymore. So I'm doing little tosses now. So I apologize.
That's no fun.
It's less fun, but when I hospitalize someone, I think I'll really regret it.
I think that's a fair trade-off.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thanks for having me.
How to Being a Human Being is out now. Dave from Glass Animals. Thank you so much.
Thanks.